amazingly. Enrollment is up. It's shorter for most states, but it's up, year to year, and it's pretty amazing and incredible. And that's just, the grassroots efforts of social media. It just shows you just how people have just been woken.
Yeah.
And also, we have to remember too that we defeated the BCRA, we defeated the skinny repeal, we defeated Graham Cassidy. I mean these were major bills that looked like they were unstoppable, but we stopped them. So it's possible if we stop those, we can stop this tax bill too. So people just have to remember that the way that we stop them is by, our voices, and people, were rallying down in Washington, and unfortunately there's not the same volume of people as there were, attached, because people just have started to realize what, the ACA individual mandate means if it's repealed. So people are starting to get more involved, but we still need that extra push, and especially now when things are being reconciled and things are up in the air, it's even more important. But we definitely can do this.
Yeah, and I love the fact that Peter said the awakening, and I think that's where social media kind of tying this all together is so important. Peter probably can vouch for this too. A year ago, I didn't know anything about this at all. And just through educating myself and even just seeing it simply as just people using the terminology ACA, a year ago, probably half the population, if not more, probably almost 90% of the population wouldn't even know what that term means, let alone individual mandate in regards to a lot of the specific issues. It's just, there's been this awakening throughout the whole entire country where people are so much more engaged in the government and understanding the different policies and different bills that are being passed. We're able to kind of see things for what they are. And I think the opportunity that social media has is that we're going spreading that education to others. And so, for example, Peter and I, we could probably name almost all 100 senators. You asked me a year ago, I'll be lucky. I can tell you mine. I can maybe tell you a few really big names, but that's it. And now we're walking into these offices and talking to these people. It's amazing. And it's something that every single person can do. And I've seen it throughout the whole entire country where you're getting people that are very specialized on things too, that are very specific to the topics that they care about. So Peter is my go-to as far as healthcare goes. I'm more of a little jack of all trades. I get my hands kind of stuck in every cookie jar that there is. But it's amazing to see that. And I think I always talk about kind of the pendulum swinging back and forth. And I think what the expectation was maybe a year ago was that people would give up, that they would kind of close their eyes and just go along with things. And we saw it with the marches in Washington that that's definitely not the case. And that's kind of always encouraged me also, is knowing that and everybody is fighting right now, literally fighting for their lives as far as the healthcare piece is concerned, or, fighting for their well-being as far as their income with the tax bill. And I just keep on encouraging everyone to keep up with it. I know it's tough because it seems like there's a new issue every single day, and there's going to be one tomorrow also. But every day we're getting better and better at it. We're understanding the issues. We're understanding how to contact these people. We're understanding how to speak to these issues more and more. And if anything, I think we're going to look back at this time in history and say, it is that great awakening within the United States as far as just understanding how the government works and how the general public kind of fits into that government.
Yeah, trust me, if Red and I can sit and have a civil conversation in Speaker Ryan's office, then we can basically accomplish anything. that was an interesting conversation. Definitely, never did I feel more on opposing sides than in that office. But the good thing was, is that, we were able to express those opinions to each other and explain why we felt the way that we did. And, it was, I would have to say, it was a very honest conversation about how each of us felt. And I don't think we agreed on anything except, we were all going to be civil, and, which is a good thing, because you have to put yourself in those situations and, reach across the aisle and work with everyone, because when it comes down to it, there are a lot of, I say this a lot, and it's just become so cliche to me, but I just feel that I can never say it enough, but, there are probably two real bipartisan issues, and one of them is definitely healthcare, because healthcare can affect anyone. And the other is veterans. And veterans, and healthcare, you put those together, and this is why we work really well together. You put those two issues together, or two topics together, and it really is very powerful. And we actually, a couple of our meetings, we had somebody join us from Little Lobbyists, and that's another huge issue.
Yes.
Is children. And it was like the trinity. It's the trinity of advocacy: the children, veteran, and the adult with chronic illness. I mean, that was it was powerful. And we went to 2 meetings together like that. It was extremely powerful. There was this, like, definitely, like, as much energy and positive energy that Red and I bring. It was, like, even more powerful when this woman was with us too, and it was unexpected, nice surprise. And again, a very engaging, powerful conversation. And we had met with one Democratic office and one Republican office with the 3 of us.
Yeah, it rejuvenated us at the end. It was again, just physically draining going from office to office, and it's mentally draining, kind of being on and having these conversations and being on top of everything. And one thing we definitely kind of not discussed in this conversation is CHIP. And I'm a father myself, but my son doesn't rely on CHIP. So it's something that, again, I'm very passionate about, just being a parent myself. And we discussed in every single office, but then all of a sudden being next to someone that will really impact kind of just drove my spirits up in the last couple of visits that we did. And that's a very important issue. And I think that's one that I've seen everybody rally behind. We really need to fix the situation. I came back home after a long drive and realized that they passed a continuing resolution as far as just kind of funding the government for a period of time. And the first thing I saw was they did a temporary funding of CHIP for emergency situations in states like Minnesota, Virginia, California, just to cover for, I think, Peter, a month or maybe 2 months total. Yeah, until the end of the year. I was so passionate about making sure that people realize that fight isn't over. After, a 5-hour car ride, I got on Twitter really quick and be like, hey, this fight isn't over. Don't think that this minor funding Band-Aid is fixing the overall problem, because it's not fixed right now. Now, again, I don't know if I would have had that energy if I didn't have the Little Lobbyists kind of with us at the end. But please, if there's anything you guys can call up about CHIP. We should never, ever have been in this situation to begin with. And I know, again, it's exhausting kind of fighting all these different issues along the way. But this is the most vulnerable population that we have in our country, is these children that don't have health care.
And it's such a relatively small amount of money that's needed to fund it.
It drives us crazy.
True.
Yeah.
And you want to hear the craziest part? Every Senate office that we spoke to all wants a clean CHIP bill. All agrees that we should have a clean CHIP bill. The only office that didn't want a clean CHIP bill was Speaker Ryan's office, so that he wanted it attached with offsets, which in this case being Red, you know them very like the back of your hand.
Yeah, this is what got me in a little bit of trouble. If there was anything that I got a little bit heated about and I got a little bit emotional about was CHIP. So, and this is a good thing kind of to learn too about some of these policies and some of these bills, is that they have offsets in regards to paying for them. And the two offsets they were looking at was increasing premiums for higher earning income levels, and then going and basically dropping people out of the marketplace if they miss payment by 30 days.
Right.
And again, it's holding a very easy piece of legislation hostage with two things that are going to go and kind of sabotage people as far as the ACA is concerned. I mean, first thing that we always hear about is that the excuse everyone goes to is, oh, the premiums are too high in my state. You're enacting legislation to go increase those premiums. And let's just be honest, if anybody's on any of these programs, they don't have a lot of money to begin with. Either they're self-employed, or again, their insurance doesn't go and cover them, or sorry, their company doesn't cover them as far as insurance goes. So penalizing those people with higher premiums right off the bat isn't something that's going to help, especially if their constituents are telling you that premiums are too high to begin with. And then the second piece of it is dropping people after 30 days of missed payment. I mean, that just shocks me. Again, we're all human. We all, I always look back, someone has missed a bill by 30 days, either your electrical bill, your car payment, something. You hope it doesn't happen, but it does happen. And no other service or utility goes and cuts you off after a 30-day missed payment. Why would we go and do that for healthcare? It just seems just completely absurd to me, especially given the population that we're dealing with that goes and utilizes these services. Kind of one of those things where you're just kind of knocking the feet out from underneath people as far as the ACA is concerned. So as you can tell, I'm very passionate about that one. That got me in a little bit of trouble while we were there. But again, if you're passionate about an issue, don't hold it back. That's what I always say too. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I'm definitely not afraid to show them. And same with Peter also. I always talk about, try to be civil in regards to it, but let yourself be known. Don't let them off the hook in regards to some of these things. If you need to call somebody out, call them out. In one of the offices, I was very blunt about some things. I knew I was being not lied to, but again, the truth wasn't coming to me, and I knew exactly what the truth was, and I called them out on it. I'm like, you know what? This is what it is. Why are you telling me something different that other offices are telling me? And sometimes you have to go down that road.
All right. Well, I don't want to keep you guys on too long, but one final question is just about Twitter. So, I know a lot of people are kind of down on Twitter, or don't like using it, don't understand it. Obviously, it's really important to you guys. It's how you met. It's how you met Representative Maloney. Tell us the good side of Twitter. What you've seen that really encourages you and inspires you on Twitter.
Well, I definitely think, like Red has spoken about previously, the positive influence that you can do with a hashtag. I mean, the stories that people can share, the grassroots, like for instance, I've shared a different infographic on the Affordable Care Act to keep people engaged with the open enrollment period every single day. That's so important, just that reminder, and it's, encourages them to, remind someone else, about the open enrollment. It gets a lot of engagement. Grassroots is probably the most important aspect. And also just the people that I've met along the way, the social media influencers. I mean, we've met some pretty big influencers together, and Red's turned into an influencer himself. I don't like to think of myself as one, but I keep to one topic pretty much at this point, and anything that relates to it, I would say I'm probably 95% healthcare, and probably 5%, of anything that pertains to healthcare, and throw in a couple of, tweets about other stuff, but. I think it's the network of people, the positive work that's been done, the calls to action. It's created this grassroots movement that I think it has engaged people, and I think it's supported people who have felt isolated and alone, like in their
Mhm.
in their states or in their areas, and in my case, like other people who've had chronic illness, and I've shown them that there's advocacy that you can do, and I've learned how to advocate